Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, my social thread. My name's Crystal and today is another Friday Sews vlog where I'm going to be talking about everything I've been up to sewing wise this past week. So I have got a couple of makes to show you, a fabric haul, a pattern haul, and a couple of plans as well. So first and foremost, what I'm wearing today, I'm just wearing my Tilly and the Buttons Lyra dress, the maxi version, together with the Harper cardigan, which I've shown you both before, all of you before. And let's go on to the first make that I've made. So this is the jumper that I made for my godson, and I'm so super proud of it. So it's the Daddy Melian pattern. It's a German pattern which I found online, and the reason I like it is because it has the chevron pattern at the front and also on the sleeves and also on the back, and it's a raglan sleeve, what is this called, a sweatshirt with the bottom bands and the cuffs. I do have a pattern already, a jogging sweatshirt pattern, but it didn't have the chevron detail, which I quite liked. As I say, it's a German pattern. If I can find it, I'll pop up a picture. And basically on the website there were the website was in German and English, and so I assumed that when I bought the pattern that the instructions would also be in German and English. Unfortunately, there was no English instructions on there. I tried to contact the company to say, you know, can I have English instructions please, because I bought the pattern under the English part of the website, but nobody got back to me, unfortunately. So what I did instead is I discovered Google Translate on Google, and you just type in, I just cut and paste the instructions from the PDF booklet into the Google Translate, and it translated into English for me. So I did that all in one go because I've sewn quite a few sweatshirts now, and I pretty much know how to put it together. But I was actually quite glad that I did do the Google Translate, because with regards to the arms, so the pattern piece comes as a whole arm, but then it's got the lines here where you cut the different parts of the arms for these different panels. And what I thought was clever is, instead of doing a pattern piece for the top arm, a pattern piece for the middle, and a pattern piece for the bottom arm, they just gave you the whole arm with the lines, and then you're supposed to cut the pieces out and then add the seam allowance yourself, which I thought actually was quite handy. I mean, it is a little bit more work for me, but I think as a pattern designer you use less pattern space and less paper in doing it that way. And obviously if you wanted the arm as a whole, you would just cut the whole arm out, but I obviously wanted the segments, so I cut the pieces out and then I added a seam allowance, and I used the seam circles. Bear with me if I can find it. I used a Generates' seam circles, which I got as a gift from the March So Hailey Jane box. It's these little seam circles here, and the point of it is you put a pen or a pencil in there and you trace the end of this wheel against the side of the pattern piece, and as you draw around it you will then be creating a 1 centimeter seam allowance. This is a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance, and this was specifically made for So Hailey Jane, but on the Generates website she does have bigger seam circles there if you wanted to buy the whole set. So that's the first time I've used that, and that was very handy. So like I said, I added the seam allowance to those pattern pieces and then cut them out, and everything went quite smoothly. What else did I want to say? Oh, with regards to the grommets, so originally I just bought some. So basically this drawstring here, I think this is about 12 millimeters thick, this cord drawstring. So I thought that you needed to have the same size grommet or bigger for the cord to go through, but it turns out you don't need it, because I threaded it through and it just kind of bends a little bit, but it's perfectly fine in there. And the reason why I had to go for a smaller grommet size was because the grommets I had bought off Etsy, I just got the grommet but I had no way of fixing it. I thought you could just hammer it in, but you can't. You need one of those grommet installers. It's like a big plier. It's like the Vario pliers from Prim. And so I couldn't install them. So I tried several times to hammer it in and it wasn't happening. And then I had a Prim set already. Let me just get it. I had this set here. So this is a slightly smaller grommet. What does it say on here? This is 8.7 millimeters. And as I say, my cord was 10 or 12 millimeters. And I just tried these grommets on. And this comes with a tool, which is great. I've lost the bottom part of that tool now. Oh dear. So this side, where if I find the metal bit for that, you hammer that onto the fabric to cut the hole, and then the other side will install these grommets onto the fabric. Now, in the instructions, it doesn't tell you to put interfacing where you're going to put the grommet. And so I didn't put any interfacing, which was a really silly thing to do, because the first time I put it on, I didn't put the interfacing in. The grommet was applied very well. But as I was pulling it through, I could see that the fabric was slowly creeping out from around the grommet. And that was just really, really painful to see. And so what I ended up doing was I took it all out. And then there was this big massive hole there, and where the hole had already widened, I couldn't put the same grommet in because it just was useless. So what I did instead is I put some woven interfacing at the back. So it's not the papery interfacing, it's the actual thick fabric interfacing. So I put that in the back and I kind of sewed over the hole, almost like mending the hole closed, although it wasn't fully closed. I just kind of sewed around it. And then I inserted a piece, I had a piece of leather left over. I'll show you here. From a bag I made, leather needle thread. I had the leather bag kit, and in there was some scrap leather fabric where you could practice putting in, that had grommets as well, practice putting in the hardware. And it just came to me that I have seen hoodies where they have like a leather a leather piece there, and so I quickly got out the fabric scraps and I cut out a piece of square leather and I put that on there. I punched a hole out and I sewed that on that side of the fabric, and I didn't even bother changing my needle on my sewing machine. So normally I would probably put like a jeans needle in so that you have the strength of a bigger needle to go through the leather, but I just had a universal 90 needle in there, and I just went really, really slowly, and I managed to sew that in beautifully. I'll just show you there. And I was very, very happy that I managed to rescue this, basically, because it was pretty much done. Everything was pretty much done. I just needed to put the grommet in. So that was that. And it's just beautiful. I really like how it's turned out. I don't know if you remember the picture that I showed you, my inspiration picture from Instagram. And I did copy it like for like, sort of with the burgundy at the top, the dark grey and the mustard, and then the mustard lining in the hood, and also the mustard yellow cords. I don't have a photo of the recipients in it yet because we're going to see them this week. We're going up to London, going down to London for Easter. So I will, if I get a photo of my godson in it, I will obviously post a photo. And just to say also, with the instructions, they didn't give you measurements for the band, the bottom band, or the cuffs. It just basically said measure sort of the wrist of the wearer, and also sort of the hip line, and use that as your measurements in cutting out the ribbing. Now, what I decided to do, I didn't want to measure. I just got I just bought my son a hoodie from Next. It was in the Next sale. I'll show you it here. And it's actually very similar in style because it has the chevron at the front and the chevrons at the side. So basically what I did is I just put my ribbing fabric on top of this and I cut through it, so I got the same measurement as this hoodie, which fits my son, and my godson and my son are of similar age, so that's what I went for. But unfortunately, as I was cutting through this with my electric scissors, I managed to cut through the pocket of this brand new sweatshirt, and now I've had to mend that. My son actually hasn't seen it yet, and I'm hoping he won't see it for a while because it is a brand new. I mean, it still has the tag on it. How much should I buy this for? Oh no, he's taken the tag off now. it was in the sale. I think it was like £17 in the next sale. But so that was a bit of a mishap. So hopefully he won't see that for a while. With regards to the sweatshirt again, another piece of advice is when you're making the cuffs, when you're sewing the cuffs, so basically you would have like a square piece of fabric for the cuff, for example. Just got a piece of fabric here, and you would fold that over, sew that down here, and then you will turn it inside out, and then you sort of got a cuff too. Actually, I can quickly show you now. So this is the sample cuff, for example, and I'm just going to quickly overlock this here. I have an overlocker right next to me. Let me just show you. Right, so this is how the instructions normally tell you to do a cuff. So you just overlock it on one side, and then if you turn it the right side out, the right side on the outside, then you have a cuff here. And then you attach this bit obviously to your sleeve. Now what I found in other, and you could see the sort of the seam is there. Now I found on another website, I believe it was a tutorial by someone who was doing one of the rompers by Waves and Wild. A neater way to do a cuff would be to, I've got another piece of fabric here. So instead of overlocking it down here and turning it the right way round, you can actually, I don't know if this is going to work, turn it halfways this way and then overlock it that side, and I will show you. You just get a much flatter, neater seam, and it just looks more professional. So this is the one here. Now when you try to turn it out, you think, oh goodness, what have I done now? Because when you initially turn it out this way, you think, oh, you know, what's going on? I'm not sure if I've done that right. But actually, if you turn it out this way, I don't know if you can tell the difference. So this seam here is a lot flatter because it's joined together, and you can actually feel it's a lot thinner. It's not as thick in comparison to this seam over here. It's a lot more fatter, and it's obviously separated. It's not joined together in there, and that's where the bulk of the seam is coming from. And this one here, I will show you. It's actually connected inside. And that's just a little tip for, I hope that was useful, or I don't know. But that's how I do my cuffs from now on, because I find it's a lot flatter, a lot neater, and it just looks a lot more professional. So that's that one. I'm very happy with that. That is another Selfless So April 22 promotional make. And the next make I did was the dress for my daughter that she's going to wear to my brother-in-law's wedding at the end of the month. And this is the, let me get it for you, the Pauline Alice Asteria dress. And I've made this version here, just with the crew neck. I've lengthened the sleeves. I did redraft the head of the sleeve to add some volume so I could do like a gathered poofy sleeve. And what else did I do? And I also lengthened it to it was supposed to be a maxi length, but I didn't have enough fabric. So it's kind of like a midi length. So I'm not sure. I'm going to try it on her. She has tried it on, but she hasn't got, we did order some sort of wedge shoes for her. And I want to try it on with the shoes to see what it's like. If it's if it's like an awkward length, I might chop it a bit to make it a bit shorter, but that's what we've gone for. So as I say, the only alteration I made was to the sleeve head. So I've redrafted the top of the sleeve head. There's lots of tutorials online on how to make a puffy sleeve, and I've just followed that. And I don't know if you can see there, I've got the puffy gathers all the way around and at the back as well, and I really love that detail. And in hindsight now, actually I would have added more puffiness to the sleeve head to get a more exaggerated, because I quite like sort of a more exaggerated sleeve. But I mean, my daughter likes it, so it's fine. So this is like I said, the Asteria dress. It's made up in a scuba from Lady McElroy. And actually, this is the only scuba that I actually quite like, because although it's a scuba, it's quite a fine scuba. And it's very drapey. The colours are very vivid. It's very smooth and soft and silky. With regards to the pattern, it's a crew neck and it has princess seams, normal sleeves here that I've just gathered at the top, and it has a facing on the inside which I've understitched underneath. But I don't know if you can see the lining is slightly peeking out at the bottom, which is a bit annoying. I did understitch the seam allowance to the facing, and I have also anchored it down here and at the seam, at the what are these called, the princess seams, but I mean, I don't know, I'm sure nobody will notice. And then the skirt is 3-panelled skirt at the front and 3-panelled skirt at the back. And I know what you're thinking, I haven't pattern matched, which I'm really annoyed with. I mean, I don't mind so much the bodice, but this flower here is really annoying me, because the seam is here and this is the front of the dress. And so what I've decided to do is I have bought some what is it, 4 centimeter satin ribbon in a burgundy and a navy, just from eBay, and I'm going to I'm going to get my daughter to wear sort of like a ribbon sash around the waist to break up the pattern, and also to disguise this horrible pattern matching here, and she quite likes the idea as well. I think more burgundy will probably go more than the navy to have a break in colour. But otherwise, she's very happy with it. She's super excited to wear that. And I will try and get a photograph of that at some point to post. And that's that. So with the Asteria dress, the instructions are very easy. And it's a different way of constructing, actually. Because it's a knit dress, the sleeves are attached, what do you call it, on the flat, so you don't have to insert, you don't have to set in the sleeves, so you attach the sleeves onto the side of the bodice first, and then oddly you attach the skirt to the bodice at the front, you attach the back skirt to the back bodice, and then you sew all in one, and then obviously the sleeves are attached on the flat, and then you sew the side seam all the way down from the bottom of the sleeve all the way down up the arm, all the way down the bodice, armpits, bodice, all the way down to the skirt. So it's like a different way of constructing a dress. I just followed the way that they suggested, but I mean, you could easily just do it the normal way with doing the side seams, setting in the sleeves, adding the 2 skirt pieces together, and then adding the skirt to the bodice if you wanted to. So that's fine. So I have made that dress a couple of times before, and I've made the wrap and the crew neck version before, and I'm very pleased with it. Right, so the next thing I wanted to show you was a little fabric haul that I have from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn. So this wasn't from their recent drop, this was from, I think, a drop a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't want to share it in my other vlogs because I had already shared sort of a fabric haul and I didn't want to overwhelm you. So basically I have bought some viscoses and like a linen mix, and the first one is this sort of what kind of colour is that, like a cobalt blue on a white background, and it's just like, almost looks like bacteria on a petri dish, but it's just squiggles, blobs on a white viscose background. And I bought 2 meters of this because I plan to make it into a skirt, and the pattern I was thinking of was the Haxby skirt by Sew Over It, which I've shown you before. And it's basically just a lovely skirt in panels, and it also has godettes, which are triangular panels within the existing panels, so it gives a lovely fitted skirt at the top, and then it flares out nicely, and it's very swishy, and you do require a drapey fabric. So that's that. Unfortunately, when I received it, I don't know if you can see, the blue has kind of bled into the white, and I haven't washed this yet. And I wasn't going to complain because this was, I did get a discount code as well, and I think it was like £5 a metre, and I only got 2 meters. And I didn't complain or want to complain, but then Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn did put up a post on their stories saying that they did have quite a few rolls that had damaged fabric, and that if anybody had any damaged fabric, please contact them. And so I did. I contacted them via Instagram, and within the hour they gave me a refund for this fabric. So this is basically free fabric. So thank you very much, Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn. And you know, these sorts of things happen, especially with dead stock fabric, or fabric that you're buying from abroad or what have you, or fabric that you're buying on a roll where you can't inspect the whole roll to see if it's damaged or not. But the fact that Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn have spotted the faults, they've apologized for it, and they're giving discount, they're giving refunds or a replacement is really great, I think. So that's that. The second piece of viscose that I bought, or piece of fabric that I bought, is this lovely one here, and it's basically like a dark purpley pink colorway with white flowers with little black centers, and it's a lovely flowy viscose again. I'll just take it out. And from far away it kind of just looks like a ditzy print. Well, I guess it is a ditzy print. And this one is for my daughter. I bought 3 meters of this. This is probably about £5 or £6 a meter, and I'm planning to make the Asteria dress for her, sew over it, which I've shown you before as well. And this is just a crew neck, and it's got gathering under the bust, princess seams. You can change the sleeves to whatever length you want, but this one you can either have elasticated cuffs or sheared cuffs, which you've got here. Also, I quite like that you've got the gathered sleeve heads at the top there. And my daughter does have a couple of dresses from New Look, and recently she's bought some from Next, where you have the gathering under the bust and then the princess seams, and it's just so super flattering. And we're really happy that we found a pattern that is very similar to that, so we plan to make our own. So that's that. The next piece of fabric is again a viscose. I bought 3 meters of this. And it's a rust colorway polka dot, and I like a polka dot where they're quite small polka dots as opposed to big circles. So this is really lovely, and this again is for my daughter. Again, it's meant to be for the Asteria dress again, but who knows what, we might get distracted by a different pattern or what have you. But rust is a lovely colorway on myself and my daughter, so I won't really. This is for my daughter. I will not take it from her. This is for my daughter, and I love that colorway. So that's the plan for that. And then the last thing I bought from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn is, I think it's a linen cotton mix. And it's basically, well, yeah, I'll take it out for you. I bought 3 meters of this as well. So it's a linen cotton mix. You can see sort of the linen texture there. And because it has the cotton in it, it has a bit more structure, and it'll be easier to press, and also it won't crease as much, which is great. So it's lovely, like, is it a baby pink? Maybe a slightly darker than baby pink. And then you've got sort of little white flowers and blue flowers on there. And originally I was planning to make the Asteria blouse by Anna Allen, but because it was so cheap, I thought I would buy more and try out the dress version, which is basically just the blouse extended. And it does require a lot of fabric because the sleeve in itself, I think the pattern piece is huge. Also, the pattern itself is quite roomy, so it's not a fitted pattern, so it does require a lot of fabric. So that's the plan for that. Going on quite nicely, actually, I have also bought some patterns from the Fold line, and the Asteria blouse from Anna Allen is one of those patterns. So I will just show you over here. I haven't yet made pattern envelopes for these, so I am like sort of these pattern envelopes that I make myself for my PDF pattern, so I still need to make that. So this is the Anna Allen Asteria blouse, which is very popular on Instagram, and it's very a loose fitted blouse, crew neck, button placket, and these big statement puffy sleeves. And then the dress version is just the extended bodice. You can have a tie if you want. I would make mine a bit shorter, a bit longer, hence the 3 meters of fabric of that pink cotton linen. And I'm really looking forward to making this. This is very popular on Instagram. I've seen so many lovely makes, and I just can't wait. I don't actually have a big puffy sleeved blouse or dress yet, so I'm really looking forward to making that. So that's that. So with this, I bought the pattern from the Fold line, but I didn't do the A0 printing because it was a blouse. I just thought that's easy enough to print at home and stick together. I normally just do the A0 printing for coats or for dresses because it's a lot more printing to do and sticking to do at home if it's a dress or a coat. So that's the first pattern I got from the Fold line. The second pattern I got was the Tilly and the Buttons pearl cardigan. Yes, I have given in to the pearl cardigan. So I originally wasn't too keen on this pattern because it just looked quite chunky. Like, it just looked quite chunky and I just wasn't keen on it. But I have seen some lovely versions. I mean, that's the beauty of Instagram, I suppose, is getting inspiration from other people making a particular pattern. So I have seen some lovely versions. Jenny, for example, from Jenny Stitches, who is a company that I blog for. She made a lovely pearl cardigan out of I think it's a French terry or a cotton jersey, but it was so beautifully fitted that it didn't even look like a cardigan. It was more like a blouse, not a blouse, like a knit top, and it looked so nice in her. And after seeing that, I thought, look, I'm going to try it out, and so I've decided to, yep, I've bought that pattern. Again, I didn't choose the A0 printing because it's a cardigan. I think that's easy enough for me to print out at home and stick together. So that's that one. And then the last pattern I bought was the Jennifer Lauren handmade pattern, the Asteria Dress. I just love her drawings and her on her patterns. And I think this is a lovely dress because it's got a square neckline, a collar, button placket, and this is actually like a box pleat on the skirt. Let me show you the line drawings. Yeah, so if you can see there, you've got some bust dart, square neckline, a collar, short sleeves, and this actually pleats on the skirt there. And I quite like it because I think it's got a vintage vibe, but yet it's a modern, so it's a modern vintage dress, which I really like. And the sizing for this dress goes from a size 6 to a size 24. So the size 6 is a bust of 29 inches, waist of 24 inches, and the size 24 is a bust of 47 inches with a waist of 42 inches. And also with the Jennifer Lauren handmade dresses, they come in different cup sizes, which is great. And it basically means you don't have to do, if you're fuller busted, you don't have to do a full bust adjustment, or if you're smaller busted, you don't have to do a small bust adjustment. So they come in cups A, B, C and D, which is amazing. So that's that. So for this dress, I think I would go for like a linen, because I'll pop up a picture up here. On their website, they have done a sample in sort of a lovely shade of green, and it's a linen, and I think that will look really nice. I do have some linen. I have a navy linen, I believe, or somewhere. Oh, and I don't know if you can see this linen up here. This is a lilac linen from Minerva Crafts, and also a gingham lilac gingham from Minerva Crafts linen as well. So I could do either one of those two there. And I think that's it. So this video is actually, I am actually pre-recording this Friday sews. It's actually Tuesday today, but I'm pre-recording it and setting it for release on the Friday because we are away for Easter, and I didn't want you to miss out on a Friday vlogs. So I tried to get as many makes done in order to show you. In the meantime, I will still be working on my Selfless Sew April makes. I believe I have... No, I have one more. I have the Adeline dress by Forget Me Not patterns to do for my daughter, and then I have 2 makes for myself to do for the wedding, and then the handbag still to do as well for the wedding, and that's it really. So thank you so much for watching. To all my new viewers, thank you very much for coming by. To all my returning viewers, thank you very much for coming back. If you are liking my content, please do kindly consider liking and subscribing. And in the meantime, oh, one last thing, sorry. Something new I learnt. I was looking through the comments on my YouTube channel, and for the most part they are lovely comments. Actually, all of them have been lovely comments. But I got a comment from somebody, and it was in Russian. And I just thought, wow, how lovely. You know, this person, you know, can't speak English. They're probably typing from Russia or wherever. And, you know, they've taken the time to comment on my video. How nice. So I replied back saying, I'm really sorry I can't read Russian, but thank you very much for watching. And then a couple of days later, I got another message. And this time it was in like, it was either Spanish or Portuguese, one of the two languages, because I can read a couple of, I can read a bit of Spanish. And I thought, well, actually, let me see if I can translate that. And as I was translating it, I was thinking, this isn't a comment related to sewing. And then again, I used Google Translate and I cut and paste the whole comment over. And it's basically like a spam message about some, you know, sort of non-child friendly website. And I just think, who does that? I mean, it's a sewing channel, for goodness sakes, you know. And so I went back to the other Russian comment and I cut and paste that, and lo and behold, it's a similar sort of spam message going around with a link to go to a website that obviously I didn't click on the link. And so I've blocked and reported both of those users. And then the other thing as well is one of my lovely viewers, I think her name is Cheryl, she contacted me via Instagram and she said, oh, you know, I love your videos, thank you so much, but the video where you're doing the Sew Hayley Jane unboxing with your daughter, March's box, I can see your whole address, your full postal address on the box. And I was like, oh no, that's been up for, well, a month now. And I was like, oh, thank you so much for letting me know, but I don't know if I can edit that now because it's been up on YouTube for a while. And she just sent me a link to say, oh, look, this is how you blur parts out on a YouTube video that's already been uploaded. So I looked on that, followed that. My 14-year-old daughter helped me out and she blurred my address out of that video. So thank you very much, Cheryl, for that. But all these little things, you know, things that you learn along the way. And then again, as regards to Cheryl, sort of another sewist helping another sewist out, which is really, really lovely. And it's a testament to how lovely the sewing community is out there. So sorry about that. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.